You know that look, that very specific facial expression you get?
Oh, I know it well.
You're at a party, maybe just in the break room, and someone asks, so what is it you actually do? And you're the data professional. You take a deep breath and you say, I work in data governance.
And then nothing. The dead silence.
It's not just silence, it's the glaze. The eyes just sort of unfocus.
Mm. The soul visibly leaves the body.
They nod, they smile, but you can see them thinking, how do I get out of this conversation?
Yeah.
It's a universal struggle in our field.
It is. And it's more than just, an ego blow at a barbecue. It's a real business problem. If you can't explain what you do in a way that lands, you can't sell it.
I can't get funding. You can't get people to actually care.
Exactly. To most people, governance sounds, let's be honest, incredibly abstract and, frankly, really, really boring.
It's the Department of No. That's what they think. The people who add red tape.
Yeah.
But today, we are going to flip that script. We're doing a deep dive into a resource designed to fix this exact problem.
Huh.
It's called the Data Governance Analogy Toolkit.
And it is so, so crucial. The whole idea is that when the technical jargon fails, and let's be real, it almost always fails,
Always.
analogies are the bridge you need. You have to connect the messy reality of data to something a business stakeholder actually understands and cares about.
And just to be clear, the goal here isn't just to be clever. We're not trying to be the fun data guys.
No, not at all. The source material uses a very specific phrase that I love. The goal is to sensitize the business.
Sensitize. I like that.
Yeah, you're making people sensitive to why this stuff matters. You use these analogies in training and meetings to shift the whole perspective.
So the toolkit has a bunch of these, but for today's deep dive, we're focusing on just one, the heavy hitter.
The big one.
We are talking about the X-ray machine.
The X-ray machine. In my opinion, it is the single most powerful metaphor for what governance actually does.
Okay, let's do this. Our mission today is to arm you, the listener, with this tool. So you can walk into a meeting and stop talking about metadata and start talking about broken bones.
Let's set the scene.
So why is data governance like an X-ray machine?
Well, think about how it usually goes. When we look at data, we're just looking at the surface, right? So imagine a patient, they walk into the doctor's office. On the outside, they look okay. They're walking, they're talking, no obvious injuries. To the naked eye, everything seems fine.
And in our world, that patient is a report, a dashboard.
Exactly. It's that quarterly sales PDF. The charts are nice and colorful. The columns all line up. It looks healthy. It looks authoritative.
But the patient is complaining. Doctor, it hurts when I do this.
Right. Or in business terms, why do our churn numbers not match what sales is seeing? Or why are we sending marketing emails to customers who just opted out? There's pain. There's a symptom.
But looking at the pretty dashboard, the surface, that tells you nothing about the cause.
Precisely. You can't diagnose a hairline fracture in a bone just by staring at someone's leg. You need a tool that can see beneath the surface.
You need to see the skeleton?
You need to see the skeleton. And that is what data governance is. It's the X-ray machine for your business.
Okay, I have to pause on that because that is such a huge framing shift. Most people see governance as like a police officer with a rule book.
Right.
But you're saying it's a diagnostic tool. It's the machine that shows you the truth.
It reveals the unseen issues in your data's health. That's the lesson here. Governance strips away the fancy formatting and shows you the bones. Is the data definition consistent? Are there duplicates? Are the values complete?
And that inconsistency, that's the fracture.
That's the fracture. And the big takeaway is this. You cannot fix a fracture that you cannot see. Visibility is the absolute first step to healing.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
I'm a stakeholder. I hear X-ray and I think, okay, that's a one-time scan. You take the picture, you're done. Is there a risk people will see governance as just a project?
That's a really good point, and it's a common misunderstanding. But that's where you can actually extend the metaphor to make it even stronger.
Oh.
Think about it. Yes, you get an X-ray for a trauma, like a broken leg. In our world, that's incident management. Something broke, we need to diagnose it fast.
Right. A fire drill.
But what about preventative care? What about an annual checkup?
Ah, like a mammogram or a dental X-ray.
Exactly. We do those scans not because we know something is wrong, but to find problems while they're still small, to catch them before they develop.
So that's our data profiling, our automated quality checks.
That's your data profiling. It's a cancer screening for your business data. And if you skip your screenings for a few years, you really can't be surprised when you suddenly have a massive crisis on your hands.
I love that. So data profiling isn't some boring technical task. It's a health screening.
It's a health screening.
Okay, let's make this practical. The source material says to use this on the job. So let's role play a scenario.
Let's do it.
All right. I'm your VP of marketing. It is Friday afternoon, and we have a massive campaign launching on Monday. You come to my desk and say we can't launch because the customer data isn't governed. I'm annoyed. I say, look, I don't care about your rules. The list looks fine. Just give me the data. I need painkillers, not an X-ray.
Ooh, I need painkillers. That is a classic and so telling.
Right.
If I come back at you with, but the data lineage isn't fully mapped, I've already lost. You're just going to push past me and launch anyway.
Absolutely. I have a deadline.
So I have to use the analogy. I'd say, I completely understand. We all want this to launch, but the system is telling us it's in pain. We've seen the symptoms, the email bounce backs from last time. If we launch now, we're basically asking a patient with a suspected broken leg to go run a marathon.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay.
But I'm still impatient.
Yeah. Then I'd lean in a bit. I'd say, giving you this data right now is like giving that runner a shot of morphine. It'll mask the pain. You'll feel great on Monday. But because you can't feel the injury, you'll run even harder. And halfway through the campaign, that hairline fracture is going to snap. It'll become a compound fracture.
Oh, wow.
And then we're not talking about a small delay. We're talking about emergency surgery, a PR disaster, a huge fine. So do we want to take a few hours now to take the X-ray, or do we want to spend months later doing reconstructive surgery?
Okay, that lands. Because you're not saying no, you're framing my yes as a massive catastrophic risk.
Exactly. No responsible leader wants to be the person who forced an athlete to run on a broken leg. It changes the conversation from you're blocking me to you're helping me avoid disaster.
It also gets the hidden nature of data problems. You know, in the real world, if a machine breaks, it makes a noise. There's smoke.
It's obvious. Physical failure is obvious.
But data failure is silent. A report can be 100% wrong and still look 100% right.
That is the silent killer aspect. And that's why the X-ray visual is so powerful. Humans are visual. We trust what we see. A clean spreadsheet deceives us. You have to remind them that the spreadsheet is just the skin.
Let's go a bit deeper on this. An X-ray machine is pretty useless if there's no one around who can actually read the results.
Yes. This is such a critical point when you're trying to sell this. So many companies, they go out and buy a governance tool, a data catalog, and they think, great, we're done.
Right. They bought the machine.
That's like buying a state-of-the-art MRI machine, sticking it in the lobby, and then firing all the radiologists.
Just scan your cells, folks. Good luck.
Exactly. You get a blurry picture, and nobody knows what it means. In our analogy, the data steward is the radiologist.
Radiologist, I like that a lot.
You need a specialist, someone with context who can look at that fuzzy gray area on the film and say, that's not just a shadow, that's a problem. Or in our world, that's not just a null value, that's a systemic failure in an upstream system.
So when you're asking for budget for data stewards, you're not asking for more admin staff.
No. You're asking for board-certified radiologists who can interpret the scans. Without them, your fancy X-ray machine is just expensive wallpaper.
That helps so much. But what about the flip side? What happens when the X-ray comes back clean?
That is the best possible outcome. And it's a massive selling point because it gives the business confidence.
Oh.
When the radiologist says, the bones are strong, you're cleared to play, now you can run that marathon. You can launch that new product. You can trust that AI model.
So governance isn't just about finding what's wrong. It's also about certifying what's right.
Yes. It moves you from, I think the data is good, to, I know the data is good. And that certainty, that peace of mind, that's what executives are actually buying. They're buying the ability to sleep at night.
Let's circle back to what the source said about using this in awareness campaigns. How do you do that visually?
I've seen teams do this brilliantly. You can literally put medical images in your presentations. Show a picture of a really nasty compound fracture. You get a visceral reaction, right? Put that on a slide with the caption, "This is your customer data without standards." Then on the next slide, a picture of a healthy, strong skeleton. "This is your data with governance."
That's going to stick in your brain way more than a bullet point list of data quality dimensions.
Oh, God. Completeness, timeliness, accuracy. I'm already falling asleep.
A broken bone, though. I'm paying
Yeah.
attention.
And then you can take it to the next step, the treatment. If the X-ray shows a break, what's the next step?
You set the bone and put a cast on it.
Right. And you immobilize it so it can heal properly. In our world, that cast is your data standard. It's your policy.
Okay.
A data standard feels restrictive. A cast is itchy. It's annoying. You can't do certain things
Why do I have to enter the date in this specific format? It's so annoying.
because you're wearing a cast.
Yeah.
The cast is there to hold the structure in the right place so it can heal. If you cut the cast off early because it's annoying,
If you bypass the rule.
if you bypass the rule, the bone heals crooked, and now your business has a permanent limp.
That is such a powerful way to explain it. We're not creating rules to be difficult. We're creating them so the whole structure can heal correctly.
It creates a whole story, a narrative. You have pain, which leads to the x-ray, interpreted by the radiologist, who prescribes a cast, which leads to healing.
It connects all the dots because most people only experience the cast, the restriction. They never saw the x-ray that justified why it was necessary in the first place.
Bingo. If I just walk up to you on the street and try to slap a plaster cast on your arm, you're going to fight me.
I'm going to call the police.
But if I first show you a clear x-ray of your shattered forearm, you're going to thank me for the cast.
That's the light bulb moment right there. We spend so much time trying to apply casts to people who don't even believe their arm is broken.
You have to show them the fracture first. Visibility is the prerequisite for compliance.
So for everyone listening, the first step isn't to go write a new policy document.
No. The first step is to find the pain. Find where the business is hurting. Where are the bad decisions being made? Where are the customer complaints coming from? That's your patient. Don't go in offering governance. Go in offering a diagnosis.
I can see that hurts. Let's fire up the machine and see what's really going on under the surface.
It changes the whole dynamic from adversarial to collaborative. You're not the data police. You're the specialist they called for a consult.
Now, this X-ray analogy is just one tool in the toolkit, right? The source material makes it clear there's more.
That's right. The X-ray is amazing for diagnostics, but you might have a different problem. Maybe it's data hoarding, maybe it's security. You might need a different analogy, and the source specifically points people to where they can find more of this.
Right. So where should people go?
The main hub mentioned is the DG Specialist website. That's D-G for data governance. So it's www.dgspecialist.com/podcast.
dgspecialist.com/podcast.
Got it.
And there's a video component too.
Yep. They have a YouTube channel. The handle is @DGSpecialist. It seems like it's a great place to find more of this kind of translation work.
Which is exactly what we all need. Having a whole quiver full of these analogies feels like a superpower. You can walk into a room, read the situation, and pull out the right arrow for the job.
Absolutely. And remember the end goal. Clarity leads to trust, and trust leads to value. The X-ray has value because it stops you from guessing and tells you what to do next. That's what a business pays for, certainty.
I want to wrap up with a challenge for you, for our listener. We've talked a lot about the theory, but it can be scary to actually use a metaphor in a serious meeting.
I get that. You worry you'll sound silly, like you're not a serious technical person.
Yeah, we're talking about millions of dollars here, and you're talking about cartoons.
But what's the alternative? You use technical jargon and they don't understand a word you say? Being serious, but completely misunderstood is useless. Being a little creative and actually being understood, that's effective.
So be confident.
Own the metaphor. Don't say, it's kind of like an X-ray. Say, data governance, IS, the X-ray for our business. Be definitive.
Okay, so here's your challenge for this week.
Yeah.
Try it. The next time you're talking to a non-technical colleague and you see their eyes start to glaze over, just stop.
Take a breath, reset.
And say, you know what? Let's look at this a different way. Think of our data like a patient who's in pain, and then just see what happens.
Watch their face. You'll see the moment the light bulb goes on. And once they see the problem your way, they become your partner in fixing it.
It's a muscle you have to build, the muscle of being a translator. And honestly, that might be the most valuable skill a data professional can have right now.
Couldn't agree more.
But before we sign off, I do have one last provocative thought for everyone to chew on.
Oh.
We spent this whole deep dive talking about the X-ray, the machine that sees the break.
The diagnostic tool, the visibility engine.
Right. But then, an X-ray machine doesn't actually fix the bone, does it?
No, not at all. It just shows you the problem. You can take 1,000 pictures of a broken leg, but it's not going to heal until someone sets it.
Exactly. So my question is this. If data governance is the X-ray machine that reveals the fracture, who in your organization is the orthopedic surgeon? Who is responsible for actually applying the cast, for doing the surgery? Because I see a lot of companies that get really excited about seeing the problem, but they get very squeamish about the painful, expensive reality of actually fixing it?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because seeing the problem is easy. Committing to the rehab, wearing the cast, paying the medical bills to actually heal, that's a whole different level of commitment.
Is visibility enough? Or does the real healing require a different kind of courage from the business once those X-ray results are in?
Something to think about. But it all starts with that first scan.
It does. Something to mull over. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Keep those machines running.
We'll see you next time.